So it's particularly with the perspective, because some of you are much newer, but even when you're newer, we can get into habits quite quickly without even noticing. So we want to, that refresh, take us back to beginner's mind. So that is that connection with that sense of wonder and interest when something is new. Because in a way, every moment of our experience is actually new. Just we tend to, we're moving forwards all the time, a lot of the time in our awareness, and not really attending to each moment. So that's the particular focus of tonight. So we're going to start off, instead of the refuges and precepts, I'm going to lead us through, it's an extract from the Avatamsaka Sutta. So I'll do it in call and response. Would you stay unmuted, Kamasiri, and do the response?
Okay.
Yeah, so if just myself and Kamasiri are unmuted. And it's in English, so I just want you to notice, checking in a bit how you feel beforehand, and then just notice if it has any effect or not doing these verses. So we're orienting towards, in a way, could be our inspiration, the focus of practice, of why we practice. So starting to turn towards that. So I invite you to sit comfortably, and I'll do these in call and response. I take my refuge in the Buddha.
I take my refuge in the Buddha.
And pray that with all beings.
And pray that with all beings.
I may understand the great way.
I may understand the great way.
Whereby the Buddha seed may forever thrive.
Whereby the Buddha seed may forever thrive.
I take my refuge in the Dharma.
I take my refuge in the Dharma.
And pray that with all beings.
And pray that with all beings.
I may enter deeply into the Sutra treasure.
I may enter deeply into the Sutra treasure.
Whereby our wisdom may grow as vast as the ocean.
Whereby our wisdom may grow as vast as the ocean.
I take my refuge in the Sangha.
I take my refuge in the Sangha.
And pray that with all beings.
And pray that with all beings.
I may reign in great multitudes.
I may reign in great multitudes.
And have nothing to check.
And have nothing to check.
The unimpeded progress of truth.
The unimpeded progress of truth.
So now, sitting in our meditation posture, we'll start scanning through the body. First, we'll briefly scan through the whole body, noticing any sensations on the skin, the surface of the body. So starting with the crown of the head, very top of the body, noticing if there's a presence of sensations or an absence. Noticing the quality and texture of any sensations there. And tuning into anything, any sensation that stands out. You can bring an aspect of noticing if they change. If you pause for a moment with a sensation. And flowing down through the face, the eyebrows, the cheeks, the back of the head, the skin, the surface of the body, and down the neck and throat. You might start to notice the sensation of fabric on the skin as we come down the shoulders and the arms. You may notice temperature difference between where there's clothing and where there isn't. What's the texture of fabric on the skin? What's the actual experience of the difference in temperature? So the whole of the arms, the palms of the hands, and then around the torso, the skin of the back of the body, the sides and the front. And if any part of the body is not okay to dwell in, please move to a different part that feels okay. And maybe noticing the response, how that feels. And then moving down through the buttocks, the surface skin of the legs, the feet, so all those sensations of contact with the ground, with clothing, temperature, texture. Then from the toes, the feet, we'll sink down a little more into the body. It may be more subtle, maybe harder to tune into, maybe easier in the larger parts of the body. To sink down into the muscle tissue below the surface of the skin, the flesh of the body. So the calves, the thighs, and the buttocks. Say, if I name any part of the body that doesn't feel okay for your awareness, stay somewhere that's okay, but notice how that feels. Kindly, open, curious. And then coming to the belly, all the organs within the torso. And the lower belly, middle belly, and up into the chest. We've got layers of muscles and tissue, and then down into the organs of the body. And through the chest and the arms. And then going up to the neck and the head and the face. And then scanning back down, noticing the bones of the body, the firmness, the solidity, the teeth, the jaw, the scalp, the skull, and the spine, travelling down the back. The bones giving our body structure. The big bones of the shoulders and the arms. So we're trying to actually feel into what they feel like. So not just a thought of the bony structure of the body. Tuning into where we can actually feel for a sense of boniness. The bones of the arms and the hands. So it may be clearer where there's points of contact. support in the body. The ribs of the chest and the back. And down into the big bony pelvis, the hips and the legs. And the feet. And from there, opening the awareness to just a light sense of the whole body being here. Wherever the awareness is present, having that sense of openness to the whole body, from the tips of the toes to the crown of the head. Alongside lightly resting part of awareness on the flow of the breath. As we move into the mindfulness of breathing, notice what the presence with the breath is like. And as I ring the bell for the first stage, a sense of paying attention to what happens as you move into the first stage. What effect is there in introducing the count? What's the texture and tone of the count? The first stage of the mindfulness of breathing, counting from 1 to 10 at the end of the exhalation. Notice, was the counting coming in a way that is habitual? Did you almost start without noticing? So not thinking about these points, just notice. Does it feel that the counting is helpful or not? Does it get in the way? Does it help you stay focused? And noticing your internal dialogue, your responses to yourself. What's the quality and tone? If there's any distraction, can you notice the flavour of that distraction? Or if there's an absence of distraction, what's the flavour of the awareness? So just noticing how you transition to the second stage. Do you jump quickly? Do you pause? Shifting the count to just before the inhalation. Does it feel any different? What's different? Does the count dominate or not? Is it the same count we always do? Do we even notice? Noticing the transition. Letting go of the count. What happens? Has your awareness broadened or narrowed? The last stage, again, what's that transition like? How do we respond to a shift of focus? Where do you focus to notice the breath? Enter and leaving the body. Do you always go to the same place? Is it difficult or easy to notice the breath? Allowing yourself to let go of the practice. And we'll be moving into small groups. They're just 15 minutes, so they're quite short groups. And the focus is to say anything that came up you may have noticed in this particular to the first half, but with slightly different suggestions. We're going to do a body scan again, but with a difference to the first one. So setting up in your meditation posture, however you're most comfortable. Be that chair, cushion, floor. Just establishing an easeful, supportive, upright posture, so the chest can be easy, easeful and open, so the breath can flow without too much effort, and the body can stay awake, aware and energetic. And we're going to scan through the body, noticing the elements. So allowing awareness to have that sense of the whole body, lightly resting in the whole body. So it's a light, easeful, resting awareness. It's not forced, not pushed. And noticing the body where you feel sensations of earth. So that sense of solidity, maybe density, heaviness. The earth element. The earth element outside of us manifests as all that is solid. The earth, rocks, mountains, trees. So all that is solid in us. Where is there an experience of solidity, firmness? Our bones, our teeth. Sensations of contact. And bringing to mind all that is earth outside, the mountains, the rocks, the ground beneath, all that is solid outside of us. It's made of the same stuff. We too are made of earth. As are all beings. And everything around us. And then bringing awareness to the water element, where the earth is solid, water has cohesion, fluidity, moisture. We're becoming aware of the sense of moisture in the body in terms of the mouth, the eyes. But maybe within the body, the blood circulating, the lymph fluids. Just as the moisture and fluidity in our body is the same as the rain, the clouds, the mist, lakes, oceans, a flowing stream, a river. So all that tenderness, fluidity, moisture, water element in the body. The surface of our skin, like the surface of a droplet of water containing the body, or the fluids of the body. And then coming to temperature, the fire element. Notice where there's heat and warmth in the body. The exchange in the body producing energy. Our body interacting with food, with air. The fire element, the combustion taking place in our body, producing the heat. As the sun produces heat, light, the heat of a fire. The same processes of combustion, internally and externally. We are not separate. We're part of the fire element. And coming to the air element, or the wind element. The movement of breath, never still, always flowing. The movements of energy in the body. Movement of the air and the wind outside, traveling around the planet. The air sustaining life. The exchange of gases with our body, with the air around us. We are not separate. And opening to space. Sense of the spaces within the body. Sensations of space inside. Wherever there's a sense of spaciousness. And all the spaces around us, spaces between things, spaces that go on and on. Move into the mindfulness of breathing. But first, a reading. So settling. It only takes a reminder to breathe. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper. And I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line. That waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going. That many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. So just noticing if anything resonated from that or not. And the invitation going into the meditation is to flow with the stages intuitively. So the 4 stages, stage 1 being counting 1 to 10 before after the exhalation. The second stage 1 to 10 before the inhalation, and letting go of the count, and then noticing the breath in the nostrils. I'm going to ring a bell to start and a bell at the end. Tune in to which stage feels like the one you want to be doing. And notice that choice arising. Not thinking about it, just notice which stage comes more easily. Is it habitually the first stage? Or with the freedom to go with whichever stage you like? Which stage would you do? Which stage feels the most helpful right now? And not darting around too quickly, just settle on a stage without thinking about it too much. The sit will be around 15 minutes long, with no bells until the end. Noticing if it feels okay to stay with the same stage. Whether it feels the time, when it feels the time to change. Just noticing if there's a shift that needs a different approach. Noticing the effect of not having a structure. Noticing the changes, awareness, breath, sensations, focus. So as we let go of that practice, we'll be going into small groups again for another 15 minutes. And yeah, I'd suggest for the groups, could have a sense of quiet in the groups, of listening and just speaking any words that come in relation to the practice. You don't need to think about it too much. Tuning into what needs to be said or would be useful to be heard.